Okay, hey everyone, welcome to Equine Episode Examination, where today we were doing an episode flashback to Sleepless in Ponyville from Season 3 of the show. So, good afternoon everyone, I'm Rain Shadow, and I am here with a few people, so they can introduce themselves now.
I'm sleepy in Britain.
Sleepless in Britain.
He's a sandwich.
I'm Mr. Ben. I'm also sleepless here in Missouri.
I'm Jay Smith, and I'm actually not sleepless.
Well, good for you.
I'm jealous. I'm pretty sleepy as well. So if this is your first time joining us for an Equine Episode Examination, just real quick what we're going over. Since we're on a hiatus until May now, we've been going back through some previous episodes and discussing them. So we went back to Season 3. We're now up to Sleepless in Ponyville here, the, I believe, 6th episode of Season 3 already. Pretty much what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about the episode, give our opinions, give, kind of what we think about the episode or what we thought about the episode at the time. We'll start a little broad and then kind of work to more specifics of the episode and discuss that. Of course, you are very much encouraged to participate with the discussion in chat. That's why we have the chat on the video here, and also while we're using StreamUp, so hopefully the latency won't be too long here. So please participate in the discussion, bring up other topics of discussion, so we actually have something to talk about. I think that's about it. We got until almost 7 to talk today, so I got a couple hours before we got to start the stuff. So we should be able to get through everything here. I believe myself and JE are the only ones who came prepared today for this. So
I have a good excuse, but
yeah, Matt does have an excuse. He is excused. How can you forget an episode about a chicken though? So I mean,
well, no,
I don't forget it. I just used to watch it because I'm a rebel.
This episode should just basically be strapped with the tagline: "You will believe a chicken can make you cry."
Do I need to put a chicken joke counter on stream?
Either a window throw or a window toss counter.
Yeah. Oh, good thing EJ isn't here today, so that's his loss.
That's why you need the chicken counter when EJ later rewatches this. He can keep track of the chicken counter and count how many times he needs to throw you out the window next time he sees you.
So,
is it bad that I'm kind of mentally referring to Colonel Sanders?
So I haven't seen this much chicken since I watched Chicken Run.
If Scootaloo joins the Wonderbolts, when she grows up, she's going to be a colonel. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm pretty sleepless. I'm looking forward to sleeping tomorrow. So
that's kind of sad because I have been sleeping all day.
I wish.
That's the majority of the day anyway.
So you're very sleepful then.
I don't know. It's weird because I sleep, but then yet I wake up and I'm like, I don't know. It's just. I guess maybe I'm just sleeping funny or something. I don't know.
There's never such a thing as too many chicken jokes. It's just not possible.
I hope you show Cluck You after this now.
It was on the stream like all night, so yeah.
Yeah, I put knowing this was a Scootaloo episode, I put Cluck You as the offline video for the entire day.
So hopefully everyone got their fill of that. Well, let's go ahead and let us jump into the episode here with our initial thoughts. What are everyone's initial thoughts on the episode here?
Slightly clumsy narratively, but it was a first episode from Corey Powell, and overall, I think the feels and the extremely heartwarming relationship between Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo really sold the episode for me.
I can finally say that we can officially celebrate the death of Scoot Abuse. That was
I don't know why I
my
thought you
first
were
thought
going
when
to say Scootaloo. Celebrate the death of Scootaloo. I'm like, what did I miss? The alternate
No.
ending of Sleepless
You
in
missed
Ponyville.
a very tasty dinner. That's what you missed.
No, I said Scoot Abuse.
Oh gosh. I I thought that comment in chat was something else too. I need to get some sleep tonight. This was my favorite episode of season 3 until the finale. It's very close to my favorite episode of the season. There's quite a few that compete for it. I mean, there's a lot of good episodes, especially in the beginning of the season with the one we watched last week with Trixie, and of course the opener and stuff. But really, this one was my favorite episode of the season, with the exception of the finale there. So I really like this. I really like what they did with it and how they approached it, and the conclusion. And of course, there's a lot of other things this episode means 2 seasons on as well here. So we'll get into that in a bit. But I really like this episode. It was
this episode was considered so good that they decided to basically try and sort of do that for each of the CMC, as Technotron has just said in chat. That's a very good point. I mean, this was spotlighting Scootaloo, but we would later on see episodes where Luna would help out Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle.
So yeah, I never saw the preview going in, so I have no idea what to expect going in here. So,
I've had trouble avoiding the spoilers, so I kind of knew Luna was appearing. But this was when basically any kind of appearance of Luna was met with such massive fanfare, because obviously she was she still is insanely popular, and everyone clamours for any kind of appearance of her in any episode.
Yeah, I remember the first time the episode aired, if you avoided the spoilers and didn't know Luna was going to be there during that brief part before Luna's big reveal during one of Scootaloo's early dreams, when you have the brief flash of Luna in the woods, everyone's like, "Oh my God, was that Luna?"
So I guess let's jump into the story here. Start. Matt, I wonder if you want to elaborate on what you said in the beginning there in terms of the clumsiness of the story.
I think perhaps clumsy is not quite the right word. I think what it is with the story, it starts out with, as far as I believe I remember, basically Applejack, Rarity, Apple Bloom, and Scootaloo, I believe, basically, and Sweetie Belle going to have basically a camping trip, effectively. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And obviously we have basically sort of the story sort of basically setting that up, and basically Rarity is a drama queen, in case you didn't know before. I find Rarity, the way Rarity is written here, is a little bit of a caricature of what she was like in previous seasons. It's not horrendously bad, don't get me wrong. It's not like it's a detriment to the episode or anything.
And also she treats Sweetie Belle like Spike in this episode.
Well, hey, at least it's not just Spike. You could say it's as much a fault of how Rarity is written than necessarily Spike. You could perhaps say, but I think what I'm trying to say is this. I think the story is basically bookended by a story that kind of goes nowhere. Because basically, we all know that eventually Rarity is just going to join anyway, because she loves her sister that much. And I think the story could have just centered a little bit more on Scootaloo, because I think that would have perhaps help the story just a little bit more. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad anyway, but yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think it was the majority of the episode was centered on Scootaloo. I mean, it had some other characters there, but I mean that was more just kind of setting the setting for
For the narrative,
what was going to happen, and also to give a reason for Scootaloo to actually kind of be in the same place as Rainbow Dash, because obviously at this point they're not like pseudo sisters or anything like that. So it was kind of a way to like to get that kind of happening, being that Apple Bloom and Applejack going to be there, and Rarity and Sweetie Belle are going to be there.
Season 3, a wondrous time when we used to think that basically Scootaloo was basically like the homeless bum of the of the pony universe.
Who's to say she still isn't? So.
Well, later seasons, but.
Yeah, I will say that about Rarity is that, I mean, it was a little over the top at sometimes, but I mean, I think it was more kind of being played for comedic effect there. But I do think
also first episode syndrome a bit as well, probably, where she'll still sort of getting the feelers of the characters. Although I think she absolutely nailed the CMC straight away. So.
But see, I also think she nailed Rarity in a lot of ways, and that sounds really wrong now that it's coming in my mouth. I do think, because I mean, we get the character building with Rarity and Sweetie Belle in this episode too, and the continuity from the Sisterhood Social episode, where this is something that Rarity would have never done before that episode, but we see a lot of her getting along really well with Sweetie Belle in this episode, and a lot of like sisterly stuff both in the beginning and also at the end of the episode where Sweetie Belle's kind of like, the last one to the falls is a moldy carrot or something like that, and Rarity kind of passes it off and like nonchalantly, like, oh, that's so childish, I'd never do that, and she just kind of slowly starts walking faster, and eventually kind of breaks out into a run. I mean, I really think that this episode does kind of show a lot of change in her and her relationship with Sweetie Belle, kind of a little bit continuity from that season 2 episode there. Which was nice, so in addition to what Matt said, I do think the other end of the spectrum is there too. I think there was also, in addition to that kind of comedic effect of her being kind of over the top.
Hey Ray, you
stuff.
just said Last of the Falls has to do that thing. I was just thinking Last of the Falls has to deal with Bill.
This is true. There was a lot of comedy to be had with Rarity trying to camp. Yeah, definitely.
And Applejack just basically nailing it straight away.
This is Applejack's bread and butter here.
Would you say it was like a sandwich?
Oh, I see what you did there. Oh gosh. Oops. So, what else about the story and the writing of the episode here?
Luna is good at basically scaring the shit out of little kids.
It's what
even if inadvertently.
Let's see.
All I can think of for the story is just basically the chicken learned to not be quite so chicken.
And yet she still cannot fly.
I do like how it kind of does build upon the previous episode with that joke that Scootaloo's a little scared, and they kind of build that into a full episode here with the lesson about it.
They missed out on a chicken joke. I feel disappointed now. Whenever I just keep thinking of Tommy Wiseau going cheep 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 cheep.
Oh God.
We got to have Tommy Wiseau in the movie now. He's got to be a guest voice actor.
Please make it happen.
Hey, we can see Pony ass, and it'll probably be much more preferable to seeing his ass.
I really I will say that the ending of the ending is still one of my favorite endings and kind of really best written things, I think, still of the series, when Scootaloo finally does confront Rainbow Dash, with kind of with how she's feeling and kind of what she what she's kind of looking for and whatnot. I really liked how that was all written and presented in the episode, and of course they kind of build up with Scootaloo finally admitting that, hey, I was kind of really look up to you as kind of like a sisterly figure, and then of
Just
course
wouldn't want to sleep with Rainbow Dash in the same tent. That's all I will say.
and just and then of course Rainbow Dash really bonding with her at the end there. That the whole scene at the end there where she kind of picks Scootaloo up and flies her into the camera is still one of my favorite moments from the series. It's just such an emotional build up there, and it's really executed well.
And I love the follow on from that when we see more interaction between the two of them in subsequent episodes. It's like you feel like there's been some development there too, which is great.
Yep. I mean, all leading up to Crusaders of the Lost Mark, even there at the in this past season.
When you're talking about emotion, that's like the pinnacle, though.
Yeah.
For these characters, for the CMC.
Because seeing her and Rainbow Dash and their interaction in that episode, just built up to that. So I mean, they're pretty much
whilst
sisters
a chicken
now.
didn't make me cry in this episode, a chicken did make me cry in that episode.
It's pretty easy. You just make the head object not visible in Flash.
Yep, you just draw Scootaloo without her head, and then you've got a headless chicken.
Does she still run around for a while afterwards?
Oh no, she lives just fine. You have heard of that chicken that lived without a head, right?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Scootaloo would be fine.
I do like how they went about just setting up this character development for Scootaloo here. In terms of this kind of everything is kind of in terms of the setting and the story go really well together.
More importantly, it was nice for Scootaloo to have a focus at all. Cause this was literally her first sort of focused episode. I mean, it took bloody long enough.
Yep, this was the first Scootaloo episode as well. So
yeah, 3 seasons in, whereas Sweetie Belle and Apple Bloom had multiple episodes by then.
But just how having her have this fear of a lot of things, and I guess the multiple facets of her fear as well. I mean, she's obviously literally afraid of the dark and being out here and these scary stories that Rainbow Dash is telling. But then also, on top of that, that fear of looking like Rainbow Dash knowing that she's scared as well. It's just kind of fear on top of fear there, and I like the line.
Yeah, she's not going to look cool in front of her awesome, idol, basically.
Yeah, and the line later, when Luna finally does make her appearance, just telling well, what is your real fear and stuff, and trying to get into that, because at first she's just like, well, I'm just afraid of this heavy pony.
Fear, I can make you shit bricks.
So, but yeah, I mean, just having her have to kind of realize, you know, what she's really afraid of here.
See, I do have to like how some of the characterization is done as well. Like for the first time since her debut in the season 1 up and we've actually see like Princess Luna here as her in her full power, the Princess of the Night. We actually get confirmation that she is indeed a dream walker. And like Rainbow Dash here admitting like why she stopped being scared of the headless horse, as she realized that in her own words, if there's such a thing actually has the headless horse, I could totally take it on. Just being that sort of boastful character that we've come to know her as, basically.
Thing is with Rainbow Dash, is it boasting when like most of the things that she claims that she can do, she probably actually can? Is that really boasting, or is that just more basically having a large ego, but also being able to back it up?
I mean, I think boasting isn't boasting pretty much you giving yourself pats on the back about what you can do. I don't really, but boasting really isn't about.
I think the difference is with most people that boast, they normally boast about things that they say that they can do, but actually in the end can't. Whereas with Rainbow Dash, she boasts that she can do these awesome things, but most of the time she actually can. I think there's a subtle difference there. I'm not saying that you know. I'm not saying it's not equally as
well. I don't think boasting
is egotistical, but I think it's something that you know. It's just something that I've noticed with Rainbow Dash compared with, say,
I mean, boasting pretty much is talking about. It isn't talking about stuff you haven't done. It's talking about stuff you have done. Talk with excessive pride and self-satisfaction.
Or you say you're able to do. I suppose that's. Yeah, I suppose that might be a slight difference. I suppose that's perhaps the difference between, say, Rainbow Dash and Trixie. Trixie boasts of being able to do these wondrous things, but actually has done no such thing. Whereas Rainbow Dash boasts that she can clear the sky in 3 seconds flat and actually in 10 seconds flat and actually can.
A boast is also a stroke in which the ball is made to hit one of the sidewalks before hitting the front wall. The more you know.
Well, boast is also spelt the same as boost, and that's a way of just going faster. So
boost. Let's see. I did like also the callbacks in terms of the scary stories. There's some that we've heard before in the rarity and the sleepover episode from what season 1 that was, and of course you know a lot of these stories are the similar ones that were told there. And I guess really loved Applejack's reaction to a lot of them, where she starts like kind of picking apart and kind of poking fun at Rainbow Dash's story, like, you know, well, how does it move around without a head, you know, or how does it do anything? And of course Rainbow Dash defends it by saying, well, it still has a brain. And then later Applejack is like, well, where's the brain if it doesn't have a head? And I'd like that kind of a little bit of like subtle continuity there, that, you know, well, these are all things and stories that Applejack has already heard here, so she's kind of just kind of poking fun at Rainbow Dash telling them.
I also have to admit that I like how Rainbow Dash is able to do a very close imitation of Rarity's voice and make it sound rather believable as like coming from her.
I also liked how they had Applejack be very much aware of kind of what's kind of like that something was bothering Scootaloo, or something was wrong, and where it kind of passed over the other ponies, and they didn't really notice it, because that's something we've seen, you know, in the previous episode with in the Sister of Social, where she's kind of the model sister there. So you know, also being pretty much the mother figure of the family to Apple Bloom is pretty much the reason for that. So it was kind of nice having her pick, you know, not everyone was completely oblivious that something was, you know, kind of going on with Scootaloo here. They did have, you know, Applejack kind of pick up on that and kind of ask, you know, was something wrong or anything like that.
It had no quiet horse. 0 out of 10.
And I just really like this whole idea of utilizing Luna in here and dreams. 'Cause, I mean, obviously this had a lot to do with fears and a lot to do with nightmares as well. So it was a nice little bit of character building with Luna and kind of giving her like more responsibilities and more insight into what she does as princess. Because we see, of course, Celestia all the time. But you know, this is the first time we've seen Luna really since well, technically since the season 2 finale, but that was kind of a low cameo at the end. This is really the first time we've seen a lot of Luna since the Nightmare Night episode.
Well, no, you see Luna in the season
Okay, this
3.
is true. We saw her in the premiere as well. She does make a little appearance.
She has a
in
cat.
that.
She has a
But this is pretty much the
cameo.
most we've really had from her, or like her biggest role since
Nightmare Moon. Really.
since that one episode.
Oh no,
So-
no, probably the Nightmare Night.
Yeah, that's
episode.
what I was talking about. Yeah, that was her biggest appearance since that.
Well, outside of being Nightmare Moon, yeah.
So, but it was nice having her, and then kind of also giving her a thing where she's actually taking kind of some of these little fillies under her wing and trying to like help them with their problems and their fears and their nightmares and their dream. And of course, this opens up just a whole plethora of story opportunities that they've taken advantage of in future seasons, and you know, including the season 5 episode where where it's all about Luna going into pretty much all of Ponyville's dreams and
Do
calling the
Magic
Tempest and
Princess's
stuff.
dream.
So,
Magic Princess's dream of sheep.
You do Princess's Dream of Magic Sheep, yeah.
Dream
yeah.
of Magic Sheep. Yeah, that
I knew
one.
it was.
That's
I couldn't remember the whole title.
the one that will forever be in my hearts for basically making Princess Big Mac canon.
Yeah. But see, like none of that would have happened without an episode like this here, with giving her that ability. So this episode set up so much like the previous episode that we did last week did as well. This set up a lot for that, and as we talked about going forward, this is the first episode that has in this kind of trilogy that they made. With all of the CMC, with Luna going into the CMC's dreams and helping them with their problems and stuff, and it's really cool to see and go and watch each of these episodes, and just see how much they have in common. I mean, they're all written by different people, but the basic like story structure of them and kind of what happens and what Luna's role in it is very, very similar, and even like stuff like the musical cues. And stuff like that in each of these episodes carry over, kind of having this nice story arc. And it's really cool that they did this over 3 seasons with one episode a season. It wasn't like it was a mini arc in this season. It's something that spanned over the next couple of ones, which is great.
I'll
I
say
love
this.
how they did that, really, too.
I think it works much better than the Equestria Games arc did. That's not saying the Equestria arc games was bad or that some of the episodes in there were bad, but I just think that this was done better.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. I mean, Equestria Games Arc's a little different because this one wasn't really something that would have a conclusion. Where the Equestria Games Arc was kind of an arc that people, I guess the problem with that was people were expecting to have a conclusion,
Days of the Lost Mark.
and it didn't really have a conclusion. I mean, it kind of had a conclusion, but a lot of people had issues with the Spike episode being the conclusion,
I think it was a framing
games.
device for the stories that they wanted to tell. I don't think it was necessarily a device, a story narrative device where the end game was going to be the Equestrian Games. And I think that was the Equestrian Games. I think that was where people got disappointed because I think that's what they were expecting it to be.
I think
and
a lot
then
of people
basically didn't get what they expected.
Yeah, a lot of people
But
were
not getting what you
expecting
expected, it shouldn't be a criticism of an episode. I'm sorry, but it just shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people.
I'm going to be adamant on that.
Yeah, a lot of people were expecting that to kind of accumulate into like actual an episode of the Equestria Games, when really what they wound up doing with it is using each of these episodes that centered around something to do with the Equestria games as kind of a frame device, sort of like how they did with the are doing with the map, where it's kind of it's just a device that's being used to kind of get each of these different stories into motion. So
I think
we
the
have
difference
the
with the map is that we don't know what the end game is, whereas with the Equestria games we kind of all expected what the end game was going to be, but then obviously we never actually got to really see much of it, which I'm not saying is a bad thing and really should probably be waited for when we actually get to the episode itself. But
I mean, yeah, but I'm just kind of saying that it's kind of they're being used in the same way, in terms of just being as a device to frame stories around. So like we have the episode with the CMC, that the next Scootaloo centered episodes, that was an Equestria Games episode with them, getting auditioning to be in the opening ceremonies. But really, that was an episode about Scootaloo and her issues with her flight. Again, just kind of centered around the games. And then, of course, we have Rainbow Falls, which was Rainbow Dash's key episode, and dealt with some issues with her, kind of having to choose between the Wonderbolts and her friends, and a lot of her issues. Again, it was still an Equestria Games episode, but again, just more used as a framing device for a character-driven story. So yeah, definitely agree with that.
I'm sorry, I don't mean what I'm meaning in the chat room. It's just I was about to type something here that I'm kind of doing some multitasking as per usual, and I had that awkward moment where you play a video game, you reset it because you messed something up, only to realize that, hey, you haven't saved since like an hour ago. And all that progress lost. Fuck. Hate that. Oh well. No one to blame but myself for that.
Let's see. What else was there? Yeah, I mean, I guess I can. Does anyone else have anything with the story and the writing here? Can kind of move on. A lot of the stuff can discuss in the other categories here.
Not really.
I mean, I think this was. I guess to conclude my thoughts on the story, I think this was a really good, really first episode for Corey Powell here. It was definitely kind of throwing her into the into the fire with this very character-centered episode, and of course having it kind of deal with something that people were kind of waiting for quite a while, in terms of Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo.
I think in some ways, though, it's the perfect episode for a new writer to basically dip into, because it's a character that we know not a great deal about. And I think in some ways that can be a good thing, because there's little precedence beforehand, there's a little bit more freedom and leeway that the new writer can have with the character.
It's definitely a double-edged sword in that way, because you don't have to worry about potentially a ton of canon or a ton of past things that this character has done and trying to make sure there's continuity. But at the same time, you gotta, being that you're kind of being tasked with expanding some of these characters and stuff, that's still kind of a lot of pressure to make sure that how you're expanding them is right and kind of in line with what the show does, and of course is making sure it's received well and interesting, as well too. So I totally agree with that. I mean, it's really kind of a double-edged sword with that. But it's probably better for new writers simply because, like you said, it gives you a little more freedom, and not being constrained with a ton of continuity from past episodes. And then season 5 came along, which I think like half the episodes at least were written by new writers. I think it was maybe a third, a little over a third were new writers for the season, and over half were new writers between season 5 and season 4. I don't know. I did the math at one point. I forget, but New writers bring new ideas, so it's always a good thing. So let's continue. We don't have that, so let's jump into any other thoughts we have on the characters and the characterization in this episode. And this episode is definitely a character episode with a lot of character building and characterization, and what happens, what happens here. So, I guess you can start out by talking about Rainbow Dash in the episode. What did everyone's thoughts on her and her character portrayal in the episode? I think the consensus must be she's awesome. I did really like how they kind of showed us a lot of different sides of Dash in this episode. I mean, at the beginning here, we kind of see her through Scootaloo's eyes. You know, with her kind of like the part where she like flying through the air and she like kicks the wood like out of the trees, like almost like she's in Minecraft or something. I definitely think that, you know, as we go on, we kind of see more sides, you know, different sides of her here, and then eventually going, oh, apparently something went wrong with the Hangouts. That's why no one else is talking. Okay, hold on. I don't know what happened at the Hangout here. Hangouts just kind of crashed. Okay.
And again,
okay,
nice to hear the.
There we go. Okay.
I
don't know what happened. The Hangouts crashed.
That
so
explains
anyway,
why you dropped out halfway through your thing there. Don't know what happened.
So I don't know
Skype.
when
Oh, I'm not Skype. I mean.
I don't really know where I dropped out of the call. I had moved on to talking about Rainbow Dash and her characterization in the episode. And I was just saying that I liked how they showed kind of different aspects of Rainbow Dash throughout the episode. So like at the beginning, we kind of see Rainbow Dash through Scootaloo's eyes, and you know, because how awesome she is. You know, we get this big part with her introduction there when you know she's kind of flying and she like these like electric guitars in the background, and she just kicks like all the wood out of the tree. And like perfect works like it's Minecraft almost. We see her like that, and then you know as we go through the episode, we see kind of different parts of her, and we kind of see her beginning to bond with Scootaloo, and of course you know building up to the end where you know once we kind of see her very angry with Scootaloo that she kind of that she wandered off in the middle of the night, and as Scootaloo's you know kind of admitting how she's feeling and all this other stuff, we you know see you know a really different side of Rainbow that we've never really seen before in terms of you know her like actually kind of really caring and you know feeling for Scootaloo here, and you know wanted to help her and kind of take her under her wing, and being a lot more kind of sisterly toward her there, and that's something we hadn't really seen from her as a character before.
I think the other thing with Rainbow Dash that I can let you in on a little secret, that bit when they're seeing her snoring, they basically took a look at me sleeping all the time and went, we need to put that into Rainbow's character.
We need more of that. Yeah, it's so fun. That was definitely one of the funnier things. How much Rainbow is just like, sure, you're gonna be sharing a tent. You know that's fine with me as long you know you don't snore, do you? I hope you know. And then of course you get later in the night and she's snoring like a fucking horse, in the tent, which is a pretty funny joke payoff there. But it also kind of shows, like, in here, how much, oops, why is this? Oh. Oh, there it goes, okay. I was wondering why that wasn't working. It also, yes, now I lost my train of thought.
Ooh, new JonTron episode.
What?
Thanks for telling me.
Okay, well,
fine.
thanks for joining us for
telling me, fine.
Triple E today, everyone.
It's not a full episode, by the way. It's only a how to play thing. Anyway.
Oh, that's old. I've seen that. Okay, never mind.
No, it's a new episode because it's literally just like I've just
another...
literally just been I've been pinged about it.
Just 6 minutes ago, so.
Okay, well. Anyway.
See you later.
Gosh, I had a thought, and now I'm trying to think of the thought I had before VLC decided to stop working.
Can I just mention just something about the tone of the episode?
Sure.
And how it's considerably darker at times than we've seen, like, a lot of episodes, particularly the CMC ones. You know, there's a lot of real dark moments. I know, and I'm not just talking about the fact that a lot of the scenes are in the dark. I'm talking about, like, you know, the dream sequences and that. They're considerably darker in tone than probably the only other time we've seen anything as dark as that are basically in, like, the season premieres and finales.
Yeah, and those are dark in a different way too. I mean, this is a very, like, it's a very dark character episode, but which is like one of the first ones we really had that was kind of like that. That wasn't just like maybe a darker action-based episode. I mean, this really delves into, you know, a little bit of a kind of, you know, personal fear. You know, your fears and your personal fears and whatnot. And definitely kind of a darker side of a character episode. poor Scoots.
Oh my god, I have just seen the best picture ever.
Oh?
Say hello to my chicken... hang on. Say hello to my chicken cannon.
Oh gosh.
Where'd you post it? Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Now I'm just thinking of that Mythbusters episode, only with Scootloo in place of the frozen chicken. Right through the window, no less.
Frozen Scootaloos.
Ooh, and another piece of continuity that I just remembered. This episode had a lot of little subtle continuity things. There's the part where Rainbow Dash says she's going to tell them, you know, like an awesome story, and I think Scootaloo. Yeah, Scootaloo was mentioned that, you know, or is it the one where Rarity growed, you know, wings and, you know, like fell to the ground and you saved her or something like that. You know, referencing the previous episode there, complete with Rarity blushing there, which is pretty funny. Like Rainbow Dash, and those look tasty.
Yeah, in the window there, I love that.
Oh. Scootaloo selling her own kind out.
So you're saying Scootaloo's a sellout?
Oh my gosh, this Scootaloo face right here. Oh, I guess paused on it after after Rainbow Dash kind of rustles her hair here, that like having a fangasm there.
Oh yeah.
So basically the picture everyone has when there's a new Pony episode starting.
Yeah, pretty much.
And of course, the infamous phase after Skulu wakes up.
Yeah. So, anything else on Rainbow Dash's character in this that anyone wants to mention? How about the rest of the main six and the CMC? Is there anything else that anyone else wants to mention about them and their characterization in the episode that we haven't gone over already?
Sweetie Belle is apparently very strong for a filly.
Yes, definitely Sweetie Bot.
Yeah.
Because Scootaloo, after she gives that to that cart to Scootaloo just can't even move it.
Are you saying that Sweetie Belle is like Chin from Hong Kong '97? You don't fuck with Sweetie Belle.
Yes. That would not be a good idea.
No, we want an Equestria 1997 now.
I don't think I want to view 1997's version of Equestria.
Of course you do. It wouldn't cause nightmares at all.
Totally not.
Hell, 2009 Equestria was scary enough.
Maybe she's just used to pulling things for her sister.
I wouldn't be surprised about that.
I did like how well that Rarity and Sweetie Belle got along in this episode. Even when Sweetie Belle is doing all this kind of work for her sister here, she's very happy doing it. Like she's just happy to kind of be spending time with her big sis doing something. Again, just a lot, especially in like a camping trip and stuff. It's just nice seeing that development continue for them. But I do really like how she kind of pulls a Rarity in the beginning to actually get Rarity to go, where she just makes that really ridiculously sad face when Rarity says that she doesn't want to go, to try and kind of coax her.
It must be a family
going.
trait. It's just the Rarity. It's the Rarity pout.
Yeah, I mean just able to guilt someone into doing something.
What's even funnier is that even though she's doing those puppy dog eyes, Rarity's not even looking at her, and she still agrees to go.
So I mean, it definitely seems to be a family trait that they're able to be kind of manipulative with how they act. Let's see. How about Luna and her characterization in the episode?
I think you sort of see that she still has some of the traits that Celestia have, in the sense that she's able to obviously guide the ponies of Equestria, perhaps more bent on a slant towards the more younger ponies of Equestria. Obviously, being the younger sister, that kind of makes quite a bit of sense. It's interesting to note that basically it seems that perhaps Luna's more comfortable in the dream world than she is in the land of the living, as you may say. It'd be interesting to see why Luna is doing this. Obviously the nighttime is her realm, and obviously part of that will be sleep and dream, so it makes perfect sense. But it'd be interesting to see if Luna would be able to carry as much weight with what she's trying to teach Dinsians of Equestria when they're not asleep. That would be something that would be quite interesting to see.
I do have to think about something that is a little bit of a twinge of horror, if you will. So we know that Luna does have the ability to dream walk. So if we think about this for a moment, this means that nobody really has any privacy, because Luna is always watching over her subject's mental dreamscapes. Now, this isn't really the scary part. I mean, we know that Luna's benevolent, yet who genuinely seeks to protect her subjects from nightmares. But as scary as this is, we know that Nightmare Moon wasn't so much that. I mean, part of the reasons that drove her to Nightmare Moon was that ponies were sleeping through her night. Think about how she could potentially abuse this potential power of just being able to just effectively become a pony Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, Luda Kruger.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It makes you wonder if this is something that she did.
Perfect.
If makes you wonder if it's something. I wonder if this is something she did a lot before Nightmare Moon, or something she started doing.
I was just about to get into that.
Moon.
Here's a more terrifying thought. Because Equestria is a world filled with magical threats and creatures of magic that can attack you from any avenue, even through your dreams. Now, imagine what kind of monsters might be out there prowling your dreams that are so dangerous that a technically physical god has to patrol your dreams every night to assure that they don't come after you. Imagine what it must have been like when Nightmare Moon was sealed inside the moon for 1,000 years. Who was filling in for Luna during that time? Celestia has to sleep sometimes, so yeah.
I mean,
I'm just wondering just how scary I thought that is. Just think, if Nightmare Moon was around and was trying to attack ponies and that, but there would be no respite. You could fall asleep and she could attack you even in your dreams. How terrifying a thought is that?
Yeah.
But see, here's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if this is something that she started doing after kind of she came back from Nightmare Moon, not to try and she's not doing it to protect them from some creatures in their dreams or anything like that, but more using it as a way to actually spend time with her subjects and help them with their problems. Because obviously most of the ponies are going to be sleeping at night, which is something that she had a problem with. Obviously, turning into Nightmare Moon is that everyone slept through her night, and everyone was sleeping when she was awake and doing stuff, and that gets pretty boring, and you get pretty frustrated with it. But by going in and kind of dream walking into people's dreams, you get to actually spend some time with your subjects, and maybe if they're having any problems, help them with their problems and stuff that she couldn't really do otherwise, because either she'd be asleep during the day, or they'd be asleep at night. So maybe it's something that she started doing kind of after that to try and actually be able to help her the subjects with their problems.
I don't know how true that is or not, but all it does say is 1,000 years ago, Equestria didn't have nightclubs.
Probably not. But
well, obviously not, because they were sleeping through Luna's beautiful night.
Oh. But yeah, it kind of raises a little funny question, It makes this all-seeing eye with Celestia watching you through her telescope through the day, and then Luna watching her dreams at night. You can't escape from the Princess Authority here.
So imagine if they both turned evil. You'd be like, you would literally have no way of being able to escape them. That's a terrifying thought.
Oh.
You alright there? You alright there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably just stretching.
Yeah.
So I do the same thing sometimes at work, and one of my coworkers just comes over like, "Are you alright?" Like, "Yeah, I'm just stretching, dude."
But yeah, as I said before, it's nice to have her kind of getting more kind of a purpose and more like duties as to what she does when she's awake and doing her princess duties here. That sounds really wrong.
But there's one thing I will say about Luna. Then, if she's still because obviously to be in the dream state, she's obviously got to be asleep herself, or is it magic that she's using to do it? Because if that's the case, then she's practically spending most of her bloody time working, quote unquote, working, being asleep. Hell, I could be the princess of the night if that's the case with the amount I sleep.
No, I don't think she's definitely not sleeping during.
No, she's using magic.
During
yeah, she's
it, it's definitely some sort of magic, as we see in the Magic Sheep episode. Because of course, then she actually does go to sleep afterwards.
I like how you call it the Magic Sheep episode when there's actually no sheep or any sheep that are magical in that episode.
That was the biggest disappointment there.
Yeah, it's why the episode sucks.
Yeah.
No magical sheep.
Yeah, Rainbow Dash would just enter everyone's dreams and, hey, do you know how awesome I am? Do you want to see me be awesome in your dreams too? I'm sure Scootaloo would love that though.
No, she'd get into Applejack's dreams and she'd always see an analogue of Rainbow Dash there and Applejack snogging her. And she'd be like, whoa, way too much information.
I'm just gonna... I wonder how many questionable dreams that Luna has to walk in on. Just slowly exit this dream here.
I kind of get the feeling that she probably wouldn't be bothered by it. I mean, she
What,
just
she's
comes
just
in
gonna
and
stay there and watch?
No,
She's
not
just
so
gonna
much that she'd be watching,
grab
but
some
she'd be like,
popcorn and look you in the eye during the entire dream.
No.
Luna doesn't need to find any porn. She can just invade other people's Tony's dreams.
No. What I mean is like she just watching. She just looks over and she's like, oh, okay, moving on. Seen this before.
So it's a bit like Luna basically switching channels on a TV set, basically.
Yes, essentially, yeah.
Happens every time she invites Lyra Bonbon's dreams.
She knows enough not to visit their dreams anymore.
Yeah,
Isn't Lyra the one that always dreams about humans?
I'm saying I'm more curious about like what Tim says there. It's not so much that she's had like how she reacts to questionable dreams. It's more like how many dreams that she's caused or intervened in.
I think she probably does like maybe like enters 1 or 2 dreams a night depending on what's going on. I mean, as we've seen in the the Magic Sheep episode later, going into multiple dreams at the same time or doing a big shared dream obviously is a big strain. And of course we see her in that episode also going through multiple different dreams in a linear fashion. She isn't just like when the main 6 are asleep, she isn't in all of their dreams at once looking for the Tantibus. She goes through each of the dreams one by one. So I don't think I think it's something where she probably visits a few subjects a night, or if she knows that if that someone's having an issue or something, she can visit them. But I don't think she's like in everyone's dream at once or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Big Mac's just
the
dreaming
main
about
goal
being
of
a
this
princess
episode.
again.
I think the main goal of this episode was basically to make us all care a lot more about Scootaloo, and obviously basically to establish the relationship between her and Rainbow Dash. And quite honestly, I don't think there's really any way they could have done it any better. Really, the episode may have a few flaws here and there in sort of other ways, but in terms of the actual goal of the episode, which was basically to make us have a lot more information and depth of feeling for Scootaloo, I think the episode works wonderfully for that.
And in that, let's conclude the character discussion with Scootaloo here, and any discussion that we have about her in this episode, because as we said, this is her first big episode, and she hasn't gotten a ton of characterization before this. I mean, we know she fancies herself a Rainbow Dash, and
she didn't lay a
few other
single
things,
egg.
but
I was disappointed.
We know that she can't sing, and
What do you mean?
We know that she's really good on her scooter. And stuff.
Saying that in this
fly.
episode, you're actually saying that in this episode, you actually see at the beginning she actually has improved quite a bit on her scooter as well compared with previous episodes. If you look back, so that's there's a little tiny sort of trinket of development there.
Yeah, this episode Yeah, because this is and one episode was that previously where she had a sequence like this too, riding on her scooter, and she like run. I like the part where she ran into Granny Smith in that episode, but here she just kind of jumps over her, and like, yeah, Granny's like, oh, this is this happens every day now. So
Scootaloo is basically the Ponyville equivalent of Bart Simpson. It's replaced the Scootaloo.
I want to hear Scootaloo say, "Eat my shorts now." But then Appleman was like, "But
no,
Appleman's
no,
like,
no,
but
no,
Scootaloo, we don't wear pants."
I want a Simpsons style intro, but with the ponies of Ponyville throughout Ponyville. I would love to see an intro like that.
That'd be great. With Twilight Sparkle almost getting hit by a car at the end. Fantastic.
Who would be Mr. Burns?
Part of me wants to say Celestia, just because I think it would be funny.
I was about to go there myself.
I guess what I want to hear Celestia. I want to hear Nicole Oliver say, "Release the hounds."
Would that make Luna Smithers?
I'm not going to go there. I really want to hear. I really want to hear Celestia say, "Release the hounds," though.
Or excellent.
Excellent.
And then Twilight's like, "Are you gonna release the hounds or the bees or the hounds that has bees in their mouth so that when they bark they shoot bees at you?"
No, release the Cerberus.
Release the bugbear.
God, the memes—they're flying towards me. No.
Literally.
Not the memes.
Gosh. Okay. What else about Scoots here? There's just so much. I don't even know where to start. We start with her because I mean we get so much. We learn so much more about about
really
her
and truthfully,
episode.
what did we? The thing is, what did we know beforehand? We knew she was a massive Rainbow Dash fangirl. Sorry, even. We knew that obviously she likes to be cool and hip, and she obviously likes her scooter. But we also kind of know that she's a bit of a tomboy, much like Rainbow Dash, and she's pretty athletic. And
we didn't really know. We didn't know a lot about.
I wouldn't
her,
say she's a terrible singer. I think she's just not as good a singer as.
No, she's terrible.
As I don't know. I think she's got quite a lot better, especially in
the tone deafness of the song. Yes, yeah, she's. Oh my god.
Well,
she gets points for showmanship.
Okay. Can you say with a straight face? The remix on the MLP remixed official album. The DJ Ponyville. You can't tell me that she doesn't sing awesomely in that remix though of.
Well, I mean, but that's not her singing. I mean, yeah, I don't even know if that's really if they re-recorded that with someone else or if they just undid the pitch corrections. But I mean, Madeline Peters. I mean, she's the good singer. We know that.
No, she didn't. Yeah, but the thing is though, she wasn't. No, she did sing. Sorry, she's always been Scootaloo's singing voice. I'm getting confused with Sweetie Belle because obviously Claire only started voicing her singing voice from season 4. So
yeah, but I mean, she is a terrible singer, and obviously in more recent episodes she sings better, but those are all because that's not her actually singing better. That's just those things are in the context of a musical number, which are out, not actually taking place in the world.
I think what you're saying is Madeline Peters is not necessarily a terrible singer. It's the case that the characterization is that Scootaloo is not as good a singer.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying Scootaloo is a horrible singer, and that's kind of one of the things we knew already going into this episode. We didn't really know We didn't really know much about her faults going into this episode either. I mean, we know she's a bad singer and some other things, and she has a very unhealthy obsession with Rainbow Dash. And I guess we also kind of know going in that she doesn't have a sister, or it's kind of implied, just being that we never see her
We don't
around.
even know anything about her family at all.
We still don't. So, but yeah, I mean, going into this, we didn't really know much about her faults either. So this episode gave her a little bit more of made her a little bit more of a three-dimensional character as well, where we can see her, her fears and kind of some of her faults here, and of course how she's so obsessed with trying to look cool in front of her idol, and who isn't. And I just realized what frame I was stuck on here, and Scootaloo's face here.
Do you know an interesting thought on that is when the season 1 finale, we see Rainbow Dash meeting the Wonderbolts for the first, actually sort of interacting with them for the first time, and her trying to look cool in front of them. It's kind of an interesting parallel between that and obviously with Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's something we see from Rainbow Dash a lot in this episode too, especially as it goes on. I do think she sees a lot of herself in Scootaloo as well, which is probably why she's very keen to kind of bring her on as kind of like be her mentor or honorary sister or whatever. And of course we know, at the end when Rainbow Dash actually admits, even though she says that she'll pretty much kill Scootaloo if she tells anyone else, that she also was afraid of these stories and had fears and stuff beforehand. But she eventually got over them. So it's kind of nice. And of course we see how in the end she kind of helps Scootaloo conquer her fear as well when we end on that dream sequence, and she pretty much just she comes in and gives the old woman her rusty horseshoes before leaving it. So it's helping to stop Scootaloo's nightmares there. Yeah, pretty much what Tim's saying in chat here. Pretty much my response to that is you can't sing that song well. If you're singing that song well, you're not singing that song correctly. It's supposed to be very loud and blaring. Anything else on the characterization in this episode before we move on? Dun, dun, dun. Okay, moving on to the voice acting of the episode. I will say that Madeline Peters in this episode was just absolutely fantastic. I mean, all throughout the episode it was very, very well, but that final scene which I was talking about, where she finally kind of kind of admits what's going on to Rainbow Dash, is some of my favorite voice acting in the show. Just the amount of emotion behind that line, and kind of you can really hear her choking back tears there as she's admitting that all this stuff to Rainbow Dash, and just how fast she kind of says it as well. It was very, very well done. And of course we get to hear Claire actually singing for Sweetie Belle here. And of course we hear that going forward from this episode, she does all of her Sweetie Belle's singing now. Let's see. And of course, actually getting to hear more of Luna too. And of course, I swear every episode Luna's in, I see a billion people saying that they changed her voice actor. Which she always sounds the same to me in every episode. I don't know. I think it's because we don't see her that often. I think Matt fell asleep.
I think he did too.
Good night, Matt. Good night, Moon. Okay, I'm gonna mute his mic before we just. There we go.
All right.
Before it gets too loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really, really hope we get to see more Scootaloo focused episodes in the future. We've had a few the past couple seasons that have had her in it. including Flight to the Finish in season 4. But I'd love to see more Scootaloo centered episodes as well, because just because we see a lot of Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle, because especially Apple Bloom, because of their relation with their sisters, but a lot of time we don't always see Scootaloo around when Rainbow Dash is around. So I'd love to have more episodes with her. Okay, let's can move on to the humor of the episode. So we say usually definitely a darker episode, but this had a lot of great humor in it as well. So let's discuss that.
Oh, let's see.
Sleep.
Oh, hey, he's back. Hey, Matt.
Subversion. Alrighty.
I said I was tired. I wasn't lying.
We believed. Oh, here's that. While I'm stopped on it here, here's that Sweetie Belle face. It's just like, oh my god, with that almost emoticon perfect circle frown, like perfect half circle frown here, going off of her head. How could you say no to that face?
Again, I just still find it funny that Sweetie Belle isn't even technically looking at her. And she's got her back turned to Rarity, and Rarity's like, oh, fine.
One of my favorite things is definitely Scootaloo's scary story that she tries to tell, which is pretty much the story of G3.5. With rainbows every day, and everyone's friends.
Say,
Rainbow Dash's nightmares.
Yeah, that's another thing. Rainbow Dash should be scared of this story. That's her worst fear. That's the real reason why she told Scootaloo to stop telling the story. It was too spooky for her.
Say, I love the little fandom nod that they had a little earlier in the episode where when Scoot trips over herself, you actually do hear chicken noises play as she crash lands.
I almost forgot to mention that. Thank you. Oh my god.
Surprise, Matt didn't mention it.
Oh man, this entire episode just solidifies the chicken joke.
And then when mentioning the campfire song that Sweetie Belle was singing, like she goes all the way down to 0, and then like as soon as she hits 0, she just bam, instant sleep.
And Sweetie Bot shutdown process initiated.
Yeah.
It is now safe to carry your Sweetie Bot to the sleeping bag.
And of course, Rainbow Dash saying, "Hope you don't snore," and then she ends up doing it herself. And of course, that whole nightmare and fuel-inducing chest Scootaloo with the bags in her eyes all veiny.
Best sleep ever. I also like the what was it, the beginning with Applejack, saying, for like the 100th time, because you've asked that 100 times now to Rarity after she asked, "Are we there yet?" It was like, you asked that 100 times. This time, you're actually correct.
No.
Was that banana?
See, at the beginning of the episode, Scootaloo rides by Cherry Berry and Sunshine at super speed, twisting them together. And then as she's coming up to Granny Smith, Scoot's about to crash into her. What does the old winner do? She calmly alters her back, and Scoot's scooter slides right under her, Scootaloo just jumping right over her head to use her as a living hurdle. Nice little callback, too, as well, because there was a continuity nod on that as well, too.
Of course, there's the whole scene with her with Scootaloo sleeping and scooting, sleep scooting, I guess, going through, all these different perils and stuff. That entire very Looney
Just prove how
Tunes
much she
esque.
scoots.
She scoots a lot.
I want her to sleep butt scoot.
But scooting needs to make a canon appearance in the show.
Say also, like on the second night, how Scootaloo attempts to retrieve firewood, including trying to summon branches to her.
Here, branches.
And then when Rainbow Dash later tries to point out how little firewood Scootaloo brought back, she tries to justify herself by claiming that there aren't many trees nearby when they're in the middle of the bloody forest.
Well, there wasn't any Fluttershy's in this episode.
That's right. If only there was a Fluttershy, we could have burned her. She's very flammable.
But all ponies are flammable.
Well, some more than others, especially if you douse her in gasoline first.
Are you saying we could roast a Scootaloo over an open Fluttershy?
I prefer mine deep fried. Much more crunchy.
Well, hey, we've already got a couple marshmallows in with it too. Why the hell not? Let's just make it a full course banquet.
And we can have some apples for afters.
Yeah.
There was a kid that in the toy a couple of days ago that I was near, and I heard the kid calling Rarity the marshmallow, and it made my day so much.
Hey, if Pinky had been there, we could have had some apple pies.
Some cotton candy. She's the cotton candy though.
So what does that make Twilight?
The sprinkle covered donut. I have no idea.
Yeah, I know. I'm at a loss too. Maybe since she's the book horse, she's the instruction manual on or the recipe manual, the recipe book.
Book flavor.
Yeah.
Luna enters Twilight's dream, and she's just making out with a giant book. Just slowly back away.
No, in her dream, she's just studying.
Yeah, we did see her. We already did see her dream. Yeah, and her dream is she's just reading books. Wow. What a dream. I did like in this episode just how humorous it was watching Scootaloo try and hide herself being scared from Rainbow Dash. Just a lot of visual gags there that were really fun.
Chicken trying to not act like herself.
Including the part where she jumps up like super high when she's scared and like grabs onto a cloud. As well, it's the highest we've ever seen Scootaloo fly. Although it wasn't really flying.
Falling with style.
Getting on to also some of the animation and the visuals of the episode, and in addition to the humor. Let me see if I can find a few. Well, that was a weird face.
I know in terms of animation that sleep deprived Scootaloo face when we first see her out when she turns over and wakes up, or when Rainbow Dash wakes up. Yeah.
Well,
that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, also the whole thing before that where Scootaloo's, because they had that really like creepy lullaby like music in the background, and Scootaloo is just kind of rocking back and forth in fear. There. And she's doing that all the way till morning.
Yeah.
And also, it's good that you had it right there, Rain, because right after another funny little bit of animation / humor I mentioned, right after that bit when they come back to the ad break, if you look closely, while Apple Bloom and AJ are putting up their sleeping bag, if you look if you look at Rarity's scenes, you see that Rarity's just doing nothing, just lounging around while she's making Sweetie Belle carry out breakfast in bed. Well, not breakfast in bed, but Sweetie Belle's just Rarity's doing nothing. Sweetie Belle's carrying her food out.
Have you ever seen a marshmallow actually work? No.
And furthermore, on that subject, and of course later, just a few moments later, when they're back on the trail again, and of Sweetie Belle's carrying Sweetie Belle, is harnessed to the wagon carrying, and she swags so hard she's making a little stream of water's trailing behind her.
And just all these faces of the sleepless Scootaloo here, with all these huge, like, pussy bags under her eyes. And it's like, yeah, it's the best sleep I've ever got. Oh my god, that face is just poor Scootaloo.
They're the infamous faces. Sweaty Belle.
And of course, being that this is also a night episode, we do get a lot of good lighting and some of the really good shading in a few of the scenes, especially when Rainbow Dash is telling some of the scary stories. We get a lot of good lighting and shadows on her as she kind of gets really close to the camera. And again, that whole final scene with Rainbow Dash carrying Scoots around, kind of helping her fly, and flying right into the camera. That was a good one. Let me see. Here we go. Let me get to the right part here. I like this part here. Let me. Where this is where Applejack is kind of poking fun at Rainbow Dash's story, and like this little pose on Applejack, and then all of a sudden here's Rainbow on the right. He's headless, not brainless, and then suddenly Rainbow Dash kind of just appears behind the log there. It's just with this like peeking of these wide eyes and stuff. It was so weird. Good, it's funny face there.
And just like soon.
Soon. Personal space, Rainbow Dash. Personal space. Let's see, where's... Oops. No, I went too far. Go back. Of course, the one other thing I wanted to point out was the snoring Rainbow Dash face here. This humongous mouth, open mouth snore, and she's just kind of doesn't even get in the sleeping bag. She just kind of crashed on top of this very purple sleeping bag. Like such grace there. Anything else with the humor or the visuals and animation that anyone wants to point at?
I kind of like the one where when Princess Luna was, with Scootaloo, there was like the animation visuals with her in the dreamscape.
Yeah.
Like not Rainbow Dash, but Scootaloo actually raising her hoof up and like hitting it up against like the wall of the dream, and you actually see like it ripple out.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was pretty well done, yeah. The image of the mare and the moon actually speaking is like Luna's like saying to the Scootaloo, face your fears.
And really good animation on that scene there, where on Scootaloo, where she's kind of admitting her fears to Rainbow Dash there, and kind of explaining the situation. Just mixed with the voice acting and the writing there, it was very well done. Okay, let's move on. Let's see, the next thing I believe we have is the score. And this episode was also a very big one in terms of score, much like last week, when I talked about kind of importance going on into future seasons and with the motifs and melodies and themes in this score. And we got a lot of stuff in here that was important and going on. And more importantly, a lot of the themes in this episode, much like the story, are reprised in the next two CMC Luna episodes, and we get a lot of the same exact themes. So we get like, let's see here if I can find. I'm trying to find the right track here. Like here. Like this is one that we get again in all of the other episodes here. This particular one was reused in And For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils, which is Sweetie Belle's Luna episode. This was used during the whole kind of freak out sequence in her nightmare, where she's kind of viewing like kind of what would happen to Rarity if she didn't fix the problem with the headdress in that episode. And there's a couple other themes in there that are also reused in those episodes. A lot of the themes from Scootaloo's Nightmare are reused. We also got the fun one here from when she's asleep on her scooter. This episode also had a wide variety of kinds of music. So of course we had like a lot of guitars, like from Rainbow Dash, and also here at the beginning during the opening scene with Scootaloo on her scooter. I think this is Rainbow Dash's here. No, that's not it. But there's in this episode, let's see if I can find it. Actually had a motif just for this episode as well that is used appears throughout the episode, up right up to the conclusion here. Let me see if I can find it here. Here it is. kind of heard it there at the beginning, but it comes back at the end here, I believe. Here. So that little motif is kind of the one for just for this episode, and it's reprised a few times, including the ending here. So definitely one of my favorite tracks is here at the ending here. Again, during the scene with Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash and the preceding ones, and you can hear that reprised here in a much different way in the final track here, which is just still one of my favorites from the show. And here's that theme again. Just the right score here for the emotional scene here. And I really love the ending part here where they're at the Rainbow Falls. Just after Rarity's little part here. Just kind of flying into there. That's something I forgot to mention too. In the continuity aspect, this is also the introduction, I believe, of Rainbow Falls as well, which we see again in season 4. The actual Rainbow Falls, not under the falls like they are here. And the main other thing that was introduced in this episode is probably one of the biggest and probably most well-known themes outside of the one that I was introduced in the previous episodes. Last week we had the Magic of Friendship theme, which has been used a billion times since then in season 4. This one also introduced Princess Luna's theme, which has shown again in the season 4 premiere during the flashback to Luna's banishment and Luna's banishment suite there. And has also appeared whenever Luna has appeared in the show since then, pretty much, including the other 2 CMC episodes. When Luna first appears in both of those CMC episodes, she's greeted with the theme that she appears with here when she first appears to Scootaloo. So let me get that here. That's in this track. So this track here is where her theme first appears here. So that theme premiere is used for Luna a lot, and it's probably its biggest use was in was in the most recent Luna episode, and again the Magic Sheep episode. Going back to that, let me get that, because that theme was pretty much the main theme for that entire Luna centered episode, and makes a lot of appearances in there. Here, I'll have to scroll all the way down. There's too many tracks here. There we go. Make it find it in the track here. This is an 8-minute track here, so. So it's kind of hard to hear over some of the sound effects here, and it appears a lot in this track, but specifically at the end here of that dream sequence in the Magic Sheep episode, where the big Tantabus, which is assumed kind of like a Luna-shaped form, is about to enter the real world, and that big climax, we get this really very grand orchestrated version of Luna's theme here. Here it is. So again, it's a nice little reuse of that, because kind of going forward, one of the nice things about going back to these previous episodes is we can kind of look at and revisit where some of these scores have gone. So just that really little simple theme that was first premiered in this episode has been used multiple times for Luna there, going forward. And that's what I said last week about the music pretty much starting in Magic Duel there. We get a lot. It's pretty much setting up for a lot more of these thematic, very motif-driven scores that start appearing in Season 4 and Season 5 here, where we get a lot of these motifs being reused. And again, it's not the same track being used over and over again lazily. It's reusing these themes and motifs in the new context of a new track, sort of like how the Luna one I just played there from the Magic Sheep episode, where it's used in a much different tone and a lot slower and a lot different instrumentation there. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing to come out of this episode, and it's something I talked about before when we covered the Apple Bloom and Luna episode, and I'll talk about again whenever we get to the Sweetie Belle and Luna episode. But just the musical continuity between these three episodes, and just the tracks that they share and the motifs that they share, it's something that's really cool, because we already know how they share similar characters and similar story points. Yeah, that's all I have about the score. Definitely one of the better scores of this season here, along with the previous episode. And really, the scores for the show after Magic Duel and this just keep getting better and better. So, be fun to talk about going forward. So, to discuss the theme and the moral of the episode here quickly before we cut it here.
And of course, when discussing score, there's also the one beautiful song in the episode was Sweetie Belle's beautiful little rendition, 99 sax notes on the wall.
Yeah, I kind of forgot there is actually a song in this. If you wanna call if you want to include that as a song, you most certainly can. Where is it? Here's the backing for that if you want to listen to it. I love all the additional instruments on it, just making it sound much more tedious. So, theme and the moral is, it's definitely all about facing your fears, and not just like fears like I'm afraid of the dark or I'm afraid of this story, but also your fears like fears of disappointment or disappointing your mentors and stuff like, or people you look up to.
This is probably one of the few episodes where the moral "don't be a dick" actually doesn't apply, so I can't really say my general catchphrase today. But yes, I have to agree with the chat room. Don't be a chicken. It's okay to have fears, and don't be afraid to face your fears together.
Yeah, this one's not "don't be a dick." It's "don't be a chicken."
Yeah.
Let's see. So how about the our favorite parts and concerns? Any concerns for the episode?
Really can't think of much of anything in regards to favorite parts. I guess Luna is my favorite part. But then again, a lot of people could probably say that anything involving Luna would probably be their favorite part.
My favorite things are definitely what this episode set up in terms of, again, just the continuity between the next three
I know what
episodes.
one of my favorite parts is.
Good.
One of my favorite parts is the hug between Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash at the very end. Because, like I said, the whole thing of Scoot abuse has just been completely destroyed, and I'm like, yes, vindication. Because man, I remember seeing all those Scoot abuse things online and just getting knock it off, people. This shit ain't funny.
Sure it is. But I really like what the episode set up in terms of this 3-season long kind of arc with Luna. I love how it used Luna and built upon her character and gave her kind of more of jobs that she does. And of course, I just love the new characterization that brought her and brought Rainbow Dash and brought Scootaloo. And going forward with Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo from this episode, you see them hanging out a lot more often and definitely doing a lot more sisterly things. I mean, most recently, I forgot to mention this when we were talking about characterization before, but not just in the Crusaders of the Last Mark episode, but also the Brotherhood social episode, where we see her and Scootaloo competing in the Sisterhood social there for the first time, and just how in sync they are, and just seeing that episode after this episode, and just seeing how far they've come in their relationship is very cool. And that episode, that was one of the coolest things about the Brotherhood social episode was just seeing Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo compete in that. And yeah, like Tim said, I almost forgot that entire ending sequence from when Scootaloo is confessing to Rainbow Dash right up to where Rainbow Dash picks her up and kind of helps her fly around Rainbow Falls there. That was definitely very emotional, heavy ending there. Anything else?
I really can't think of anything myself.
So any conclusions or overall feelings or anything else to state about the episode before we call it a day here?
This is probably one of my other favorite episodes of season 3. Yeah, mainly because of the fact that again, at first when I first saw it, it really wasn't. But now, in looking in retrospect upon seeing that this is pretty much our first of the Luna trilogy, if you will, this has actually become one of my favorites of season 3. So,
yeah, it was definitely like I said, it was my favorite. Magical Mystery Cure, I think, came along and topped it for me. But I mean, just it was just so. It's such a good episode, such a character-driven story, and a lot of character development. I love character development. I love especially character development like happened in this episode that then continues and is continued to be built upon and continues in future episodes. It's a big deal for Rainbow Dash to kind of adopt Scootaloo as her sister, and it's something we see more of throughout the series. And it's one of those sort of like Twilight gaining wings at the end of the this season. It's one of those kind of series-changing things. Okay, and I think that's about all we have for today. So, thanks for joining us today for Triple E. Next week we will be talking about another really good episode, another one of my favorite episodes of this season, the Wonderbolt Academy, which also is an episode that has a lot of kind of continuity and started a lot of it started a lot of themes musically and story wise, and a lot of character building in it. So we'll have a lot to talk about next week as well. So.